Hi folks, my name is Larry Miller. Welcome to my course on the new manager, the essentials of managing people, teams, and processes. Congratulations. If you become a new manager, maybe I should say condolences. Because, you know, in your old world before you were promoted to a manager, you had a job and you knew what it was and you knew how to get it done and you were in control of it. It was just about your behavior, your motivation, your skills. And now you're a manager of others. And now life isn't so simple, is it? On the one hand, you've entered the world where there's immense opportunity to move up the ladder to greater compensation, greater responsibility, greater success all around. However, the other side of that, the condolences side of that, is that now you are dependent on others. Your success is only the degree to which you can cause other people to do their jobs well. And that's hard. It's not easy. I've been managing for about 40 years, managing a company and managing teams of people, developing people. And I know it's hard, and you don't always succeed. Sometimes you can't win. But you can maximize the probability of your success with every individual and every team if you have the fundamental skills, none of which are rocket science, none of which are that hard, but they're frames of mind, they're ways of thinking about the job. And there are very specific skills. And you know, skills are developed through action. You know, if you're going to learn to play the piano, you can't just read a book and then say, oh, I know how to play the piano. No, you have to put your hands on the keys and you have to practice, 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 right? Which is true if you're learning golf or learning any sport. It's about behavior. It's about you developing the automatic responses that make you an effective manager. So as we go through this course, I hope you have a coach. Now that coach may be the immediate manager above you, or it may be a coach sort of on the side, if you will, who isn't the authority above you, but is a helper, somebody who can give you feedback and help you develop as a manager. I believe in having a coach, so I hope you do have a coach. But you and the coach are going to take action. As we go through each section of the course, I am going to prescribe, I'm going to recommend, I can't make you do it, but I am going to recommend some exercises, some practice that will put the lessons to work. And only by putting your hands on the actual work, practicing, will you really become good and effective as a manager. And let's be honest, all of us who have been managing for a long time know we don't have it all down. I mean, it's a lifelong, it's like becoming a good parent, right? Or a good teacher or a good coach. It's a lifelong experience. There's always more you can learn. So in this course, I'm trying to provide the essentials of effective management, but I expect that it's the beginning of a lifelong journey. I hope it's the beginning of a lifelong journey for you. Now, let me talk about the three major sections of this course. One is a focus on people and the skills of people, motivating people, your communication skills. There's a whole section we're going to go through on communication skills, listening skills, giving and receiving feedback, very essential skills for a manager, learning to do that well, and even the discipline issue, right? The issue that none of us really want to deal with, but there are times that people don't perform, even though we've given them feedback, even though we've done a good job of doing the things we should do to motivate them and listen to them, communicate with them, etc. Sometimes you have to engage in a process of discipline. So we'll go through all those things. Each one of those is a subsection of the course. Now, in the world that we live in today, rarely do you just manage people one-on-one, individually. And in fact, that's the hardest way to manage people. Because if people are working together as a team, they motivate each other, and they teach each other. They learn from each other. They solve problems together as a team. So I wouldn't say it's just the easiest way to manage people, but it is definitely the most effective way to manage people in most organizations today, is to become an effective team leader. So there's individual skill that you're going to help your individual employees develop, individual motivation, But now you're also going to work with a group of individuals as a team, I hope. So we're going to talk about team leadership. There's a whole section on team leadership, the stages of team development, how to develop a team scorecard, and you know, if you look at any sport and you say, well, what makes a team perform? They have a scorecard. They know the score, and they're working towards the score, right? And towards the championship, towards some challenge, towards some goal. Well, the same things are true with working with a team at work. You want them to have the challenge. You want them to have the score. You want them to have targets and objectives. And we want to talk about how you make decisions, because there's individual decision making and then there's team or group decision making. And I want to help you to be effective in both, and I want to help you figure out when a decision should be an individual decision and when should it be a team decision. And then there is problem solving and continuous improvement. Every team, well, every individual really, should be involved in lifelong learning for the individual and continuous improvement, continuously getting better as a team. So I'm going to give you a process of working with your team to engage in continuous improvement, where they're always moving up a staircase, improving data and improving their behavior, improving their skills to achieve a challenge. So we're going to go through that whole process. And I want you to think about process, because what do teams own? What are they responsible for? And what are you responsible for? You're not just responsible for people, you're responsible for a group of people getting work done. And they get work done through a process, and every process there's input and there's output. You measure the effectiveness of the process by the output of the process, right? I mean, if you're a restaurant, for example, there's input, incoming food stuff, and incoming people who are going to serve the food and make the food and so forth. Those are inputs into the process, and then there's a process of cooking, right? Preparing the meal and serving the meal. And the output is a customer who enjoys the meal, a good steak, a good whatever the dinner is, right? And a customer that's satisfied with that. Those are the outputs of that process. So you as a manager are going to be responsible for managing a process. And I'd like you just to think about something Dr. Deming, the great guru of quality management, said some years ago. He said 95% of the time quality problems are in the process, not the person, but 95% of the time we blame the person and don't fix the process, and then we can't figure out why the next person isn't any good either, right? Because they're working in a lousy process. Well, you will succeed largely to the degree that you are able to lead your team in the improvement of processes. So you need to know what your processes, you need to know who your team is, who's on your team, what your team is responsible for, and obviously you need to know who the people are, right? So we're going to go through all three of those things. And there is leadership, there's the development of people. You lead teams, you develop people, and you manage processes. And we're going to go through all three of those. That's the challenge. That's what the course is about. Come on and join me. I think you'll enjoy it, and I am quite confident you'll benefit from it in improving your own performance as a manager.